Good Monday morning, everyone, and welcome to another week full of the 359 podcast. Well, semi-full. It's episode 95, and you are joined here by Roger Cheng and Samantha Rhodes. What is going on today?
Happy Monday.
Hello.
What is going on? We've got a couple of cool stories for you. We're gonna be talking about Nokia. We had a piece this morning about the startup bringing the Nokia brand back and how they're plotting their comeback. And whether or not you care, honestly. And we're going to talk about whether or not our first experiences with our phones. Sam has never had a Nokia phone, which is unusual for folks, at least at my age. So makes me feel old. And then next up, we'll be talking about the next wave of iPads coming out over the next 2 years. And then lastly, just a bit about a couple of hotel chains that were hit with some malware. Just something to be aware of. So... as always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Our producer Brian will pick out the best ones, and we will do our best. We will do our best to answer them. Like Sam says, ask us anything. Well, almost anything. We'll
ask
try our
anything.
best.
We'll answer.
Yeah, I know.
Within reason.
Within reason, preferably with the topics that we're actually talking about. But
That'd be good.
yeah, or just general Apple questions because we know you have them, and we will answer them. So, why don't we get started?
You're promising the world here, Roger.
All right, let's kick off the podcast.
All right, audio to speed. We'll be taking questions in exactly 3 minutes and 59 seconds, starting 3, 2...
Welcome to the 359, where we talk about the top tech news of the day and all the other crap we want to throw in. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Samantha Rhodes.
So Nokia is back. Finnish startup HMD has plans to bring back the brand. To help raise awareness, HMD has hired Pekka Rintala, the former CEO of Angry Birds maker Rovio, and a longtime Nokia vet. And it's a story that I published this morning. It just sort of brings me back. I had a lengthy email chat with Pekka, and he seemed to be convinced that people still value the Nokia brand. And I have questions about that, especially from someone like Sam, who has never owned a millennial who has never owned a Nokia phone. What is your take on the Nokia brand?
Yeah, I only know Nokia as the kind of phone that can, like a cockroach, can withstand like a nuclear holocaust or something. I know
Those things were tough.
No one ever that I know has or wants to have a Nokia phone.
So it's an interesting dilemma because he seemed really convinced that people were just, it's a nostalgia play, right? They grew up with the Nokia phone, and a lot of people are still kind of loyal to the brand, and they feel like if they can come out with a decent Android-based phone, people will come back. But
it has to be pretty good, though, because we always think of tech as like going forward. And though the nostalgia might work, I don't want to be going backward in terms of my technology.
No, that's actually a really good point. I mean, for me, the bigger thing is Apple and Samsung have sort of dominated our minds when it comes to smartphones, comes to advanced technology. And then you've got a brand like Nokia, which has had a lot of trouble over the years and has been linked to Windows Phone for a while, right? And it didn't really do so well. So
we'll have to see what happens.
We'll have to see.
I probably won't buy one. We'll just go with that.
Well, I'm eager to see it come back, but we'll see.
So Apple also is planning a 10.5-inch iPad Pro for 2017 and OLED iPads for 2018.
Yes. So OLED displays are they've been a mainstay feature for Samsung devices. They've been on phones and tablets. The benefit is that the colors are more vibrant, the blacks are truer. They say that it's a better visual experience. So it's about time that Apple kind of caught up, right? But although on a broader level, do you think any of this will make a difference? Like, do you care about iPads at this point?
Not really. I don't use an iPad, but then again, people just crave new Apple products,
right.
So they're gonna be excited about it.
We'll see. I mean, like Apple has definitely struggled with the iPad business. It basically was on a downward spiral up until the last quarter, and so we'll see if like a better display will actually help. All right, lastly, and this is more of an FYI, if you've booked a hotel with Starwood, Marriott, or Hyatt, watch out. The hotel chains have been hit by malware that exposed customer data. So if you booked a hotel between March 1st of last year to June 21st of this year, you could be hit.
Yeah, it's 20 hotels in the United States, and they have a link online, so you should go find out.
Yeah, check it out on CNET for sure. We've got a link there. You just booked a hotel, right? Are you safe?
I did. Yeah, I'm safe. I booked at the Crown Plaza in Minneapolis, although other Minneapolis hotels were hit, so I was quite
I mean, this is just sort of the latest incident where again, hotel chains, airlines have just been hit by hackers. I mean, it seems like we're never safe, right?
Yeah, everywhere gets hit. DNC, Hillary Clinton.
Yes. Yeah, and if you're Donald Trump, I guess that's a good thing. I don't.
Yeah, he was a fan of that one.
Yeah. So, all right. Want to know more about these stories? Check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Samantha Rhodes.
Thanks for listening. Whoa, way under. I realized
You don't need to tell everyone that. For once, we're gonna hit the mark on a 3-minute and 59-second podcast, as opposed to being like 4 minutes and 6 seconds.
That's true.
That's okay.
I decided to change it up by going under, not over.
You were efficient.
Yes.
No one's mad about that.
All right.
We have some great freaking comments today.
Honestly, I was a bit distracted when you started cracking up in the middle. It's like, what is going on? Is this bad?
I was trying not to. I didn't know what was going on, so I just kept talking.
So I just have to. This might be my favorite comment of all time that we've ever gotten on the show.
All right.
So the snake game will be back. I'm boss on that.
The snake game.
Yeah. Appropriately by a user named Scott Boss.
Nice.
Cheers to Scott Boss. I challenge you to snake.
Sam, do you know what the snake game is?
I know a game called Snake Game where you have a little snake and it eats.
Yes, and that was like I think a default game on most Nokia phones back in the day.
Got it.
And it was really like the only game.
How big is the screen?
The screen was tiny. It's
yeah, so how did you how long was the game?
It was as long as you had patience for it.
Yeah, as long as it kept going. Like you could theoretically keep going if you were skilled enough.
But
and
if it's a small
enough.
screen, eventually the snake just takes up the whole.
Yeah.
And then you're done?
And then you're pretty much done.
This is how you occupied your time in high school when you were my age.
You could, well, for me, it was college, but you couldn't download any new games or anything. So, like, that was basically it.
All right. I challenge everyone out there. Let's get it trending. # bring back snake.
Yes, let's do it. Maybe HMD will do it. Maybe that's their marquee feature. Buy the Nokia phone. It's got snakes. There you go.
That would work with the nostalgic culture we live in these days. That would work.
It might actually work. I don't know.
I mean, if the Power Rangers can come back.
That's true. That's true.
Also, Ashley on gaming. Always loves Nokia Snake game. Keep it coming. More Snake. Everyone, let's play Snake. Rudolph and Coco, what do Apple think of Samsung? Do they hate them?
Do they hate them? Well,
that's an interesting
question. No, I would say Apple doesn't hate Samsung, but Apple definitely feels that Samsung has ripped off a lot of stuff, as evidenced by the myriad of lawsuits that they filed against Samsung.
And vice versa,
for sure. But Apple really kicked off the whole "you guys are copying our stuff" battle. But
yeah,
it's not a full hate. That's kind of
I don't know if it's full hate. You know, I'm sure
I'd be interested to hear some
respect.
of those behind the curtain conversations some of the executives might have. But as far as their public presence,
you know what? I would probably bet that Steve Jobs probably hated Samsung.
Probably.
They probably hated Google more though. But basically, anyone that's copied, what he brought out to the iPhone.
So everyone ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They borrowed all the ideas for their stores, but now Apple has new stores.
True. Wait, stores? What stores?
You mean Windows stores?
No, like
Samsung?
the stores.
The physical stores?
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about people who copied Apple.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Microsoft store.
Yeah, yes. There isn't a Google store, is there? I don't know.
I haven't seen a Google store, but
that would be cool.
The Windows store is Microsoft store.
The Microsoft store, yeah.
Mohammed says, I still use my Nokia E90 communicator, and he paid $1,000 for it.
Yeah, wait,
is that legit?
E90
I don't remember that.
Communicator, I think was like, I'm getting the numbers were terribly mixed up, but I think that was it a tablet? Almost like a proto tablet?
I honestly don't know anything about this.
If you give us more details, man.
Mohammed, tell us more about your E90. We're all blanking.
You know what? We have the internet. We can look this up.
Since when?
Thanks to you, Brian. Well, actually, I don't have the internet.
Will they run out of ideas for their iPads? That's a loaded question.
No, but also I would argue that it's definitely tougher to innovate on a product like the iPad now. Like I feel like it's pretty polished at this point. It has basically everything you want in it. It goes fast enough for any app you want to run on it, and so
they keep changing the size, but I'm trying to think of any sort of cool things they could come up with. There hasn't been.
Not really. I mean, like the coolest thing for the iPad Pro was the connector for the keyboard, and that is something they stole from Microsoft. So I don't know. In terms of ideas for a significant upgrade to an iPad, I don't know if I don't know if we've got any more of those.
I think we're going to see more phone stuff before we see anything on a tablet.
Oh, absolutely.
And even then, they're kind of like reaching at straws.
They should just make it waterproof and wireless charging, just like everything else. Like, I wouldn't mind a waterproof iPad. Run out in the rain.
Waterproof anything would be a huge leap forward, kind of across the board.
Yes.
So to remind everyone, we're talking about the big Nokia comeback, and we got Tommy in the chat room saying, I don't care, I don't even want to know. Thank you, Tommy, for clicking through, watching the 30-second ad.
Absolutely.
On this Nokia topic that you don't care about.
That's the thing. There are people who care about the brand, but I think it's definitely hits a certain age, right? Like you have to be kind of like my age, basically, or older, like in the mid to late 30s. Because below that, Nokia sort of lost its relevancy, and there wasn't any real reason. Your first phone was a
pink Razr.
A pink Razr. So for a lot of people, like the Motorola Razr, the original one, the thin flip phone, was like their first nostalgic
That was my first phone.
Those things were glass, though. My girlfriend went through 3 of those in college.
Yeah. They weren't that durable.
No.
You dropped and it just...
Yeah, it powdered. It was bad.
Did it literally powder? What did she do to that phone?
No, you just drop it and immediately.
Yeah, no, it wasn't durable.
It couldn't take a single hit. Like if you put it down on the counter too hard, it shut off.
I mean, that was it was first of a wave of like form over function products, right?
Yeah.
Like when, you started valuing the way it looked. Because before that, like most of the phones I had before the Razr were pretty bulky, were pretty durable.
Yeah.
The Nokia ones were pretty awesome. Like they were, you could use it as a self-defense weapon. You could throw it against someone,
Exactly.
Shahryar is talking about the golden age of Nokia, saying that they should just kind of like ride off into the sunset, remember when it was wonderful. And Tech Pimp expands on this. Yes, Tech Pimp.
Tech Pimp.
Sure.
Raving about their camera features, their camera functions from back in the
day.
He says, bring back the zeiss megapixel.
All the Carl Zeiss lenses.
Way ahead of their time.
Yeah, they were. It was like, I remember the N95, the N90 series was, these were kind of like pseudo smartphones. They had like slider capabilities. They were basically regular phones, but they had really awesome cameras for the time. Like, I mean, nothing they were making then compares to what we have now.
Yeah, but back then.
The 41 megapixel, I think that's a reference to the Lumia 1020 that Nokia made under Stephen Elop. It was a Windows phone. It was a smartphone, actually. It had a really kick-ass camera, I have to admit. I mean, problem is you had to be into Windows Phone, and people weren't really into that. So,
speaking of ahead of their time and innovation, Mohammed points out that Nokia had video call before FaceTime.
Yes, they did. They had a lot of features before Apple did.
Well, maybe they'll have new ones now that'll all be sort of
really innovative.
You know what? VR calls.
Ooh, that would take a huge amount of processing power. Can you imagine?
You're legitimately thinking about it.
Like, ooh, VR call.
Meanwhile, it's like, why? It's a real Jeff Goldblum quote. You never really asked if we should.
No, I think that's the problem with the startup HMD. They're trying to create. They're using Android, so they're gonna be like every other Android phone out there. So I don't really know what they're gonna do to set themselves apart. I mean, this guy I talked to, really talked about the marketing idea, the brand identity as being the real differentiator. But I don't know if it has as much sway as he thinks
not as
it
much
does.
pull.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Still scanning. More bring back Snake. Come on, keep it coming, guys. Bring back Snake. We're gonna make this happen.
We're in total agreement. Bring back Snake. I don't think my reflexes are
as good.
They're not as good as
Were
they
you
used
really
to
good
be.
at Snake?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time playing that game. It's
Well,
sad.
Do you think there will be any Android involvement with new Nokia products?
No, I don't think. I think they're just going to take stock Android. They're not going to mess with it too much. I mean, they probably will, but they're not going to be working with Google to like create any kind of unique features. I think they're gonna do the stuff on their own. I honestly don't know if they are gonna build any kind of unique tweaks to it to set it apart. We'll see. It's they're not looking to launch their phones this year. They haven't really talked about time frame, but you could probably expect first phones and tablets to show up next year at the soonest.
Going back to the iPad topic, Tala says, with the trend of iPads and tablets replacing a lot of actual home computing experiences, maybe that's a direction to consider. What are some things that we see on a PC that, besides something like the optical drive, which is in itself outdated, what of those should be on the forefront to innovate into a tablet experience, specifically the iPad.
That's an interesting point. I think that what Apple's doing with HomeKit and trying to integrate the either iOS device, either your iPhone or your iPad, as sort of the controller for your home.
Yep.
I think that's a really good concept, and they haven't really done much with it. I know you can kind of control your lights and control certain smart appliances with your iPad, but I feel like they haven't really made a big push in that. It seems like not a lost opportunity, but an opportunity that they could be capitalizing more on.
I would like to see something, being someone who does not own a tablet, something that would kind of bring me over is bundling it with peripherals. So buying a kit that had a keyboard and a mouse with it.
Oh, yeah.
Like right off the shelf.
Tablet either. I mean, I want something that's really going to make me want to have one.
Yeah. Otherwise, like I like my typing experience on my laptop or a desktop kind of thing. And that's just me.
Have you guys tried like the Surface or Surface Pro and that kind of small, thin keyboard?
I have. I kind of like it.
Right. I want to see more of that.
Okay, got it. I mean, they're doing that with the iPad Pro though, right? Like,
oh, is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not. The problem is it's
I
not.
missed that.
It's not bundled. They've got a pencil. They've got the stylus. They've got the keyboard. Neither of which are free. I mean, you have to spend extra money for that. So that the cost adds up there.
Yeah, it's like buying a new charger for your computer. It's like $80.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, just make me pay it out the gate and not think about it again. Just hate myself once,
right?
Instead of hate myself twice, 3 times.
Well, with Apple, if that's the case, you would be hating yourself quite a bit.
Over and over and over again.
Yep.
Absolutely true.
Yep.
I think that's all we got for today. It's probably a good time to wrap right there.
All right, great.
Thank you so much for everyone.
Yeah,
Great
really love
comments.
the feedback. Loving the snake comments.
Keep trending. Bring back snake. # bring back snake.
It's gonna happen, man. I mean,
this is going to usurp Pokemon Go.
No.
Absolutely not.
Actually, is Pokemon Go still a thing? I'm still playing it, which makes me wonder if it's no longer a thing now.
So I obliterated my data plan in a week.
Really?
Yeah. So
Jump on T-Mobile, man. It's
stopped.
free. Pokemon Go's free.
I'm grandfathered in from working for this company on a tentatively good deal through AT&T.
Oh, yeah.
Not an endorsement nor a criticism. That's just where I am.
It's interesting because I talked to the carriers about how much data Pokemon Go takes up, and they argue that it doesn't really. It's not that heavy.
Brian can
when I'm
differ.
Spending a weekend working out of Philadelphia with limited access to any form of Wi-Fi and wandering around the city and occupying that time by catching them all.
Yes.
Yeah, it went quick.
Wow. What level are you at?
I'm stuck on 12.
Really?
Yeah, I'm doing terrible. But I've been for several days now not using it for reasons.
Oh, right.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah. The Bring Back Snake, long live Nokia. Let's get out of here.
There you go. All right. Long live Nokia. Okay. That's a great sentiment to end on. If you liked anything you saw or heard here, check us out on CNET. Our podcast is also available on iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, FeedBurner, TuneIn. And we'll see you all tomorrow.
That was fast.
If I don't say it really fast, I'll forget them all.